The rule of Akbar marked a revolution in the field of religion. How did he intend to merge the various religions in his vast empire? Hello and welcome to UPSC History View. Today, let's learn about Din-i-Ilāhī. The Din-i-Ilāhī, known during its time as Tawḥīd-i-Ilāhī or Divine Faith, was a syncretic religion or spiritual leadership program propounded by the Mughal Emperor Akbar in 1582, intending to merge some of the elements of the religions of his empire and thereby reconcile the differences that divided his subjects. The elements were primarily drawn from Islam, Hinduism, and Zoroastrianism, but some others were also taken from Christianity, Jainism, and Buddhism. The name Din-i-Ilāhī literally translates to God's religion or religion of God or divine religion. According to the renowned historian Mubarak Ali, Din-i-Ilāhī is a name that was not used in Akbar's period. At the time, it was called Tawḥīd-i-Ilāhī or divine monotheism, as it is written by Abul Fazl, a court historian during the reign of Akbar. This name suggests a particularly monotheistic focus for Akbar's faith. The anonymous Dabestan-e-Mazaheb uses the name Ilahiyya to refer to the faith. Let's take a look at the history of Din-i-Ilāhī. Akbar promoted tolerance of other faiths and even encouraged debate on philosophical and religious issues. This led to the creation of Ibadat Khana, the house of worship, at Fatehpur Sikri in 1575, which invited theologians, poets, scholars, and philosophers from all religious denominations, including Christians, Hindus, Jains, and Zoroastrians. Since Akbar suffered from severe dyslexia, rendering him totally unable to read or write, such dialogues in the house of worship became his primary means of exploring questions of faith. Despite his aforementioned illiteracy due to dyslexia, Akbar would eventually amass a library full of more than 24,000 volumes of texts in Hindi, Persian, Greek, Latin, Arabic, and Kashmiri. The later Mughal emperor and son of Akbar, Jahangir, stated that his father was always associated with the learned of every creed and religion. In a letter to King Philip II of Spain, Akbar laments that so many people do not inquire into issues within their own religion, stating that most people will instead follow the religion in which they were born or educated, thus excluding themselves from the possibility of ascertaining the truth, which is the noblest aim of the human intellect. By the time Akbar established the Din-i-Ilāhī, he had already repealed the jizya over a decade earlier in 1568. The jizya was a tax on non-Muslims. A religious experience while he was hunting in 1578 further increased his interest in the religious traditions of his empire. From the discussions held at the Ibadat Khana, Akbar concluded that no single religion could claim the monopoly of truth. This revelation inspired him to create the Din-i-Ilāhī in 1582. Various pious Muslims, among them the Qadi of Bengal Suba and Sheikh Ahmad Sirhindi, responded by declaring it to be blasphemy to Islam. Some modern scholars have argued that the Din-i-Ilāhī was a spiritual discipleship program rather than a new religion. After Akbar, Din-i-Ilāhī appears to have survived according to the Dabestan-e-Mazaheb of Mohsin Fani. However, the movement never numbered more than 18 adherents. In the 17th century, an attempt to re-establish the Din-i-Ilāhī was made by Shah Jahan's eldest son Dara Shikoh, but any prospects of an official revival were halted by his brother Aurangzeb, who executed him on grounds of apostasy. Aurangzeb later compiled the Fatwa-e-Alamgiri, reimposed the jizya, and established Islamic Sharia law across the Indian subcontinent, spreading Islamic orthodoxy and extinguishing any chance of religious reform for generations. Let's take a look at the beliefs and practices of Dīn-i-Ilāhī. Although the spirit and central principles of Dīn-i-Ilāhī were adapted from Sufism, including ideas from the Andalusi Sufi mystic Ibn al-Arabi, Akbar endeavored to create a synthesis of other beliefs, and so his personal religion borrowed concepts and tenets from many other faiths. Aligned with Sufi practices, one's soul is encouraged to purify itself through yearning of God. Sins included lust, sensuality, slander, and pride. Virtues included piety, prudence, abstinence, and kindness. The following details illustrate the personal religious observances of Akbar. As an inquisitive inquirer endowed with the spirit of reason, he learned the Hindu alchemy and medicine and cultivated their yoga system. Like his Central Asian ancestor, he believed in astronomy and astrology, and after his association with the Zoroastrian Mabad, he believed that life might be lengthened by lightning fire or by the repetition of 1,000 names of the sun. Following the Buddhist custom, he used to shave the crown of his head, thinking that the soul passed through the brain. He turned into a vegetarian later in life. This details the personal religious observances of Akbar. The visitation of Jesuit missionaries such as Rodolfo Acquaviva brought the virtue of celibacy into the house of worship, where it consequently became a virtue of Akbar's faith that was not mandatory but respected. The faith also adopted the principle of ahimsa, an ancient virtue of almost all Indian religions, including Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism. The non-violence extended from humans to animals, encouraging vegetarianism and prohibiting the slaughter of animals for any reason at all. The Din-i-Ilāhī had no sacred scriptures, and similar to both Islam and Sikhi, there was no priestly hierarchy. Light was a focus of divine worship, with a light fire ritual based on the yasna and an adoption of the hymn of the 1,000 Sanskrit names for the sun. Followers were referred to as chela, meaning disciples. The major practices and beliefs of the Din-i-Ilāhī were as follows. Number 1. The unity of God. Number 2. Followers salute one another with Allahu Akbar or Jalla Jalalahu, meaning may His glory be glorified. Number 3. Absence of meat of all kinds. Number 4. One's on birthday by anniversary party was a must for every member. Number 5. Ahimsa or non-violence. Followers were prohibited from dining with fishers, butchers, and hunters. Let's take a look at Sulh-i-Kul. It has been argued that the theory of Din-i-Ilāhī being a new religion was a misconception which arose because of erroneous translation of Abul Fazl's work by later British historians. However, it is also accepted that the policy of Sulh-i-Kul, which formed the essence of Din-i-Ilāhī, was adopted by Akbar as a part of general imperial administrative policy. Sulh-i-Kul means universal peace. According to Abul Fazl, the emperor was a universal agent of God, and so his sovereignty was not bound to any single faith. The emperor is further prohibited from discriminating between the different religions of the realm, and if the ruler did discriminate, they then were not fit for the role as agent of God. Abul Fazl saw the religious views of Akbar as a rational decision towards maintaining harmony between the various faiths of the empire. Thank you for listening to this discussion on Din-i-Ilāhī. For more such discussions, get the UPSC Practice app from the App Store.